There is a strange rule in life. The closer you get to doing something meaningful, the louder everyone suddenly becomes. Friends with advice, strangers with opinions, comment sections full of people who are absolutely certain. And slowly, without even realizing it, you stop building and start listening to the noise. This is the story of a man who almost abandoned his dream, until one quiet moment changed everything. Stay with me. Marcus, a 27-year-old rideshare driver in Austin, Texas, worked a secret second shift. He spent hours behind the wheel, navigating traffic, picking up passengers, listening to endless conversations, before someone stepped out and disappeared back into their own life. It wasn't glamorous work, but it paid the bills. What most people didn't know was what Marcus did every night after his last ride. At 10:30, he'd park his car, walk into his small apartment, and sit at his desk. Not for hours, not all night, just 1 hour. Every single night. Because Marcus was building something, a mobile app. He spent 2 years developing an app to help local musicians find last-minute gigs, a struggle he knew firsthand. Night after night, after driving strangers across the city, Marcus opened his laptop. Some nights he wrote code. Some nights he researched. Some nights he just stared at a bug he barely understood. But that hour was non-negotiable. It was sacred. Slowly, the app began to take shape. He could finally see the finish line. And that's when everything started getting complicated. At first, Marcus made the mistake most dreamers make. He started telling people. Not bragging, just casually. Passengers, friends, other drivers. I'm building an app. Some were encouraging, but many weren't. Apps? That market is a bloodbath. You need investors for that. Do you even know how competitive tech is? A few laughed. Most didn't mean to discourage him. They were just being realistic. But realism, repeated enough times, starts sounding like truth. Then Marcus posted a short video online, just a demo of the early version. The response came quickly. Some loved the idea. Others, not so much. Market's oversaturated. Looks like a high school project. Marcus told himself he didn't care. But something subtle began to change. Instead of building, he read comments. Instead of solving bugs, he compared himself to other startups. He questioned his skills. He questioned his idea. And worst of all, he questioned if he was just wasting his time. Weeks passed. The laptop stayed closed. The sacred hour disappeared. And the thing Marcus had been building for 2 years stopped growing. Downstairs lived an older man named Leonard. Most evenings, he sat on the front steps with an acoustic guitar. Marcus had passed him hundreds of times, until one night. Marcus came home unusually early. "You're home before midnight," Leonard noticed. "Slow night," Marcus shrugged. Leonard studied him, then asked something unexpected. "You stopped building?" Marcus froze. "How did you know?" Leonard smiled slightly. "Because you used to walk in here looking tired but excited." He strummed a quiet chord. "Now you just look tired." Marcus let his guard down and admitted his doubts. The comments, the criticism, the comparisons. Leonard nodded slowly. Then he pointed across the street. A new restaurant was being built. Harsh lights lit up the structure. Workers moved around scaffolding, hammering, drilling, lifting, even at night. "You see those guys?" Leonard asked. Marcus nodded. "You hear all the noise out here?" Cars passing, People arguing. Music. Sirens. Leonard leaned forward. Do you think those workers stop every time someone outside complains? Of course not. Because the people outside the construction site don't build, Leonard smiled. They just make noise. Marcus stared at the restaurant. The workers weren't arguing with anyone. They weren't reading comments. They were just building. Leonard's voice softened. Dreams die in a strange way, Marcus. Not from failure, from distraction. That night, Marcus went upstairs. He didn't suddenly feel inspired, but he opened his laptop and worked. For 1 hour, just like he used to. The next night he did it again. The comments were still there. The doubts were still there. But Marcus made one simple rule. He would only listen to people who were actually building something themselves. Everyone else? They were just traffic, just background noise. He reached out to 2 independent musicians. They tested the app. Their feedback was brutally honest, but useful. Marcus fixed the bugs. Progress was slow, but the hour happened. Every night. Brick by brick, his own building kept rising. 6 months later, Marcus pressed publish. No viral moment, just a quiet launch. That first week, 12 musicians signed up, and a jazz guitarist booked a gig. It wasn't huge, it wasn't perfect, but it was real. Something existed that hadn't existed before. Later, Marcus walked downstairs. Leonard was on the steps, guitar in hand. You finished it? Leonard asked. Marcus nodded. Good. Leonard grinned, then said something Marcus would remember forever. Most people think success is about talent. He strummed a chord. It's not. It's about having the courage to ignore the crowd long enough to actually finish something. Here's the truth. The noise never stops. There will always be opinions, criticism, and advice from people who have never built a thing in their lives. That never changes. The only thing you control is whether you step outside the construction site and argue with the crowd, or stay inside and keep building. Focus isn't the absence of doubt. It's not the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep working, even when you're tired, progress is slow, and nobody understands your vision. Because every hour you spend building raises the structure a little higher. And one day, you'll look up and realize something incredible. In the middle of all that noise, you built it. If this story reminded you of something you've been putting off, tell me in the comments. What is one thing you're going back to build tonight? And if someone you know needs to hear this story, share it with them. Until next time, stay focused and keep building.